if you can't see well or want to move up, hey, you please do. I have a bunch of things to show that are inspiring to me that hopefully will be inspiring to you this morning. One of the things that I've really been captivated by is just this notion of what will our eyes evolve to become? You know, owls have done this incredible evolution of evolving their eyes to see so well at night that they can't even rotate their eyes anymore. They have to rotate their heads, as we all know. And I think about this, and I think about, well, how will our own visual perceptual systems kind of evolve? And I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been down at Warby Parker for the last 2 years, and part of my job, besides putting up online eye tests, which is a service you can now try with an app, it's called Prescription Check. But part of my job was to figure out kind of what could future glasses include. You know, what technology could we embed in the temples of glasses or pico projectors in the sides of glasses. And I brought this morning some Bose glasses for you all to try. These only look a little dorky, but does anybody have these? Yeah? No? So they're basically AirPods in glasses. So they project sound, nice, high-quality Bose sound, towards your ear, so you can hear anything you want. And then they also have a microphone, so you can talk on the phone, or you can whisper to Alexa.
No kidding.
Yeah, so you can kind of converse with her. But it also might be an interesting thing to prototype with today, because they have some other sensors in here too, which is an accelerometer, which knows how much you're running, gyro, which knows how you're rotating your head, and a compass. So if you want to do like a walking tour of Wentworth, you could do it in these glasses. So your phone would give you the GPS location, and then these would give you the what are you looking at and are you looking up. So you could, kind of have an audio experience. These don't mess with your vision at all, but they're kind of intriguing for that reason. I'll give you my phone if you want to play Spotify. So how else might our eyes evolve? Is kind of my question for the morning. And we've been able to do certain things like darken and make sunglasses, but all the big clouds, all of the big five, Apple and Google and Amazon, are all filing patents rapidly and really pouring billions of dollars into HoloLens and on Microsoft's part in order to try to kind of reinvent this new platform, what they believe of computing, which is the face-worn glasses. And these are maybe the most fashionable by a company called North. They have a few hundred people outside of Toronto. And they have a little pico projector in the temple of the glasses that can put like the same stuff that you have on your Apple Watch in your field of view. It doesn't know what you're looking at, but it can put that, so I could get, a teleprompter for my slides so I would know what to say, or, when I come home, it would give me advice on how to compliment my wife, maybe. Maybe that's another app for you guys to write, what would you want in your glasses as a teleprompter? So I've been wearing these and prototyping against these future glasses. These are called the Magic Leap glasses. Has anybody hacked these yet? They're developer kits. Right now, they're like $3,000 for the developer kit, but Magic Leap has raised $2.3 billion to try to enable this new platform. And here I'm on a Hydro because it's the head of the Charles Day today, right? So I have a Hydro at home. Has anybody tried the Hydro? It's like Peloton for rowing. So I have a cute coach. Her name's Danny. She's really cute. It gets me up early in the morning, so I'm like motivated to row. They provide a screen, but I've been trying to hack kind of what else would you want in your field of view as you're rowing to give you more motivation. Like maybe you hear the crowd, or you see the boats you're pulling past or being passed by in my case. So I guess the interesting thing of note about this kind of new world of glasses is there are 50 companies that are all running at this really hard. There's been a lot of money invested, and the same $3,000 development kit that I just showed you is now available for $600 by this company called Nreal. they actually have a wider field of view and can do more. So this seems like another interesting thing to have. Lots of rumors of what Apple will do in the same space. So the enabling technology of the glasses is not only that you're looking at the world through a screen and it knows what you see and it knows the edge of the table so the Pokemon can like jump up over the edge of the table. But also it can do what's called scene segmentation. So you can use computer vision to figure out like what are the pixels that you're looking at that are occupied by that guy or by that coffee cup or by that car. And then all those things that you're looking at can become labeled and then actionable. So you can kind of say, instead of clicking on a word as you do on the web, you can kind of say, that thing right there, like how much is that chair? Or what's the reputation of her? Or, you can kind of interrogate the world in the same way that you do with words on the web. So this morning, I just wanted to walk through, I'm working on a new book called Supersight, and I want to walk through kind of what are some of the promises or the gifts or gifts is sounds sort of cheesy. But, so I just want to talk about kind of give examples from 6 of these categories into the 10 chapters of the book. So it seems like the first thing that we might want from these kind of next generation platforms is just to know what we're looking at, just to have this kind of promise of knowing people's names or knowing what we're seeing. And from a community perspective, which is the topic of this morning, how might we activate communities with this kind of technology? I think I would recommend, if you haven't, downloading iNaturalist. How many people have tried it? One. We got one in the back. Have you labeled anything cool recently? Right. So it allows you to take pictures. I live in Brookline, and it happens that you can find bugs and bats and herons in Brookline. And the reason that this is interesting from a community perspective is the things that you notice and take pictures of get automatically labeled. And then you get this metadata cloud over the top of the community, which says, where are the interesting natural bits in your community, right? You have multiple people doing the taking pictures and the labeling of this stuff. So it's a little bit like, you could also go the inverse. You could say, where are the terrible things in the community? Let's make something where we label the potholes, and the trash, and the things that are abhorrent to us in the community, and try to do something about that as well. Maybe you might want to work on kind of the inverse, but the admirable. Make sense? And with this face reco that you can now apply to all of these images in order to label the bugs and the birds and the herons. Also, we're kind of aggressively putting cameras in more and more things around us, not just the glasses. And I'm really interested in pushing on, this is kind of more conceptual, but pushing on what will this mean to have this capability all around us? Like, what will be the secondary effects of having everybody be able to be recognized? And one of the interesting provocations that an artist did was to say, well, maybe there'll be a new generation of makeup that happens in order to camouflage yourself in the city or in front of your friend's Nest doorbell so you can pass undetected through the city. Maybe that will be a secondary effect. So it seems like the second thing that happens that these glasses or this capability might provide is just this idea of not just labeling the things in front of you, but understanding things that you think are just in the human domain of being able to understand people's affect or people's, are people interested in this talk? Or that guy's yawning, so probably not. I should have glasses that recognize, engagement levels. We had a project at MIT a couple of years ago called Mood Meter. Basically, it was a camera in public places around campus that would label people's facial expressions. So you could see how depressed are which buildings at MIT. But I think the ramification of this is that we kind of will all have other people like a coach on our shoulder, and we won't be doing things alone anymore. And the way that these coaches will appear is not only in our glasses, but also in phones that we hold up, or in mirrors and other things we can see through, or just as projected light down on the environment. Think kind of pico projectors on your food or on the physical world around you. For example, this company Mirror is offering you boxing or coaching superimposed, so you try to match the pose with the mirror. Or as I mentioned, hydro is kind of, you're never alone when you're rowing anymore. Now you've always got the Olympic coach to feel like you're in the boat, you feel motivated, you're not doing things alone. So I think if you think about like kind of personal assistants that are in your glasses, what will that mean for how we walk through the world, plan our time, and get help when we need it? In terms of the projected light, I think one of the more compelling examples of that is this project that I worked on at the Media Lab, where we had a Lego model of the city, and as city planners would move buildings around, the projected light would show walkability scores or perception of danger. So all of those things could be calculated as you kind of try to reconfigure the city. So this physical model has what's called a digital twin, which is understood in 3D, and then kind of attributes about the digital twin that make for a better or worse city are calculated and reprojected on your plan, and have an AI help with that. So the third category is kind of even leveling up one more, which is, do we really want, let me have in a show of hands, how many people would trust AI to make fashion decisions for you? Just a couple. What? So well dressed. I don't know. You don't need
my wife dressed. Well, then she's not around. I'll need all the help I can get.
I started a company called Ditto a few years ago, and we were trying to kind of label the world to understand what people's interests were, whether it was Harley Davidson or bad food. And we were helping brands figure out like, what do people think of them? Like Hilton misses all of the photos that have the brands in them. We created a dashboard for that. But kind of the most creepy, interesting aspect of this AI was we could help TripAdvisor, when people search for romantic hotel, figure out what the carousel of images should be that characterize that hotel as a romantic place. Is that wild? So as somebody would search for like child-friendly restaurants, you could change the photos that are shown of the venue in order to kind of entice people who are interested in that kind of thing. And you'd think, wow, that's like an art director level skill. Like, how would you know what a romantic-ish photo is? And I can't even, that's what the algorithms, when fed enough examples of romantic-ish things, figured out, brought up pictures like this. And I guess tubs and bread and flowers, and I don't know, the AI knows. The AI knows kind of like the million things that might make up romantic-ish. So it's kind of another ramification of this. And we tried to help people at Orbi find the right glasses for their face using the same technology. So we wanted to find glasses that fit your pupillary distance. If people use the Warby Parker app and they have an iPhone that unlocks the phone with your face, you can do this. And just last year launched a virtual try-on. So those glasses, there's one pair of virtual and one pair of real glasses on my face. And we worked very hard to make it look very realistic, and it's been, we're selling like millions of dollars more of glasses per month for people who don't have to do a home try. Are you still with me? Good. I'm going too fast. So another one of the ramifications that I think you might think about is kind of this how the world of work and the world of gaming seem to be on this collision course, or maybe they've already collided. And I think this is given by being able to measure more things and observe more things. And also the metaphors of gaming seem to be kind of jumping into our world of work, or the world of utility. So Google Maps just launched a feature, so if you pop out of the subway in New York and you're like, where am I again? And you have to walk like a half a block to figure out, that you're going the wrong direction. This has been converted into a Pokemon-esque experience where you just follow the red fox. Isn't that wild? Like, we've always thought maps were these things you look down at and you follow the dots to the treasure at the black X, right? Do you have a question?
No, just like a really quick comment. I like play Pokemon Go and it runs off Google Maps and it's like my directions. So this is like a dream. It's crazy.
Right.
Made my whole
You can play Pokemon in Pokemon. Just
And then
follow
follow
one Pokemon
it,
to the other Pokemons. Right. So it's really changing kind of the metaphors of how we do everyday things. Even video conferencing. Like, I don't have one of these Facebook portals because, it's Facebook. But it is interesting that all of the stuff we're seeing in Snap, all the sort of superimposed layers, might help your kids have interesting conversations with your parents that might be coordinated by kind of a gamified conversational layers. I kind of feel like I always need help in conversations, so I don't know if it's big noses is the key, but maybe things should be drifting around your head that might allow us to have a better, more robust or increase the rapport between us kind of conversation. And when I think about the kind of what a Fitbit does for you, I've been wearing a camera for a couple of years and kind of making these flipbooks of my day. So here's one in Cambridge, and here's one working with a magician in London doing a workshop. And all these photos reveal so much about your life. This life logging flipbook with computer vision can reveal, like, how many times did you snack? How many times did you interact with people versus screens? How much time were you outside? How much did you move through the world? Of the people that you interacted with, were they also depressed? Like, are the mirror neurons are working? So I think this is really intriguing. I'm going to skip over this one because I want to show other things. The next category is, I think, relevant for today's discussion, which is about how can we change education with these kind of AR experiences. I'm most inspired by the AR that doesn't just show the real world, but that tries to push on axes of showing you kind of Miss Frizzle level stuff. Things that that are too large to otherwise see, or too small to otherwise see, or too slow to otherwise see, or too fast to otherwise see. Kind of this metaphor of like, give me X-ray vision so I can see through the building's walls. You're probably working on this at Stanley. What's that?
Oh, Batman.
Batman. Right. Superpowers. Yeah, I picked this one because it kind of does the opposite. Rather than seeing adds scales and bones and muscle onto something that needs some muscling up. Or things that help you to kind of translate from one language to the other. I love this music scanner app for my daughter. She was playing some 8th-note triplets, which were really hard to get in your head. And with this, you just take a picture with this app of the music, and then it will play it for you. Super helpful, right? It's kind of a leg up on hard music. I also love this Curelate t-shirts because it shows you the guts of the body in the context of the body. So it seems like it's not just like putting a T-Rex on a table, but there's like something about the appropriateness of you want to, scrutinize something that otherwise has a physical form. And if anybody's been in the new World Trade Center tower, there's a beautiful AR example where there's short throw projectors on each wall of the elevator. So as you feel yourself lifted up, you're going through time from 1500 to the current day. And it shows you where you are in the building, and how high and what year you're in. And then it's that view from that vantage, right? As if you were, glass elevator. And it gets especially dramatic at the top because as the building was being built over the last 10 years, you fly through the building as it's being constructed in those years. Isn't that nice? Something really we should make AR experiences do more of that, that really give you more information or more context in a moment where you're otherwise staring against the wall. All right, last category, which I just did last night, so it's going to be rough. But I think there's a huge opportunity for communities to kind of re-envision and remake the landscapes and the urban spaces around us with AR. And these are two projects that I'd love for you to get involved with. One is, I met a landscape architect who has a small firm, and she laments that people still, for some reason, don't invest anything in their landscape. It's not good for the environment. Maybe it's a confidence issue, financial issue, or just an imagination issue. And there are a couple of new technologies that I think we could leverage to really change this at scale. And one is called photogrammetry, which is if you get a satellite view or a drone view, you can create a 3D map of a landscape and put it into a game engine, like Unity or what's it, what's the other one called? Like Unity. And if you're a landscape design firm, you have all of this. So that's kind of the first one, is how do you get the real world digitized? And then the second one is how can you proactively auto-generate a preferable landscape so you don't have to hire a landscape architect to do every single one. She has a whole database of designs that she's done over the last 30 years that can be used as training examples. There's an AI technique called generative adversarial nets, which are used for deepfakes, where you have you generate a landscape, you judge it, and then it's a feedback loop so that your generative landscape gets better and better based on the scoring. And the scoring could be it has a shade tree on the southwest side so that your HVAC costs go down. It could be you have natural pollinators. It could be that you have pools of grass rather than all grass. It could be that you have, her big passion is, the company's called Home Outside, so she believes families will be happier and more social if you have gathering spots in front yards, like swinging porches, swinging porch swings, or gathering places in backyards, like fire pits. It's like an extra home. So the project is to kind of re-landscape programmatically 70 million homes, and then get the email addresses from Home Depot and Wayfair and send them and say, we kind of took the liberty of redesigning your house. You want to see it? And then if you say, yeah, I'd like to see that, then you finance the furniture and the plants and the hardscapes like you would solar. So it's a landscape as a service. So it costs you like $140 a month rather than $10,000 all at once. And then you give them high-level parameters like, do you want it to be more privatized or more filled in or more organic versus more formal so that they can choose those things. So that's one. And the benefit of something like this would be you're kind of creating a new national park, right? Like you're creating, you could help 500,000 people plant a ton of trees and capture a lot of carbon. So if anybody's interested in working on that, visualizing that, seems like a fun one that involves drones and game engines. Last idea, yeah.
That one.
Oh, good.
I'll second that.
Okay. The last one is something I don't know a ton about, but I'm fascinated by this idea of what's called tactical urbanism. There are probably people in the room that know a lot more about this than I do. But it's basically a way to kind of prototype changes in the city. The idea is in order to get a bike lane or a park or sidewalks or other things you might want, usually takes many years and a lot of capital to do it. The kind of tradition or the idea of tactical urbanism is that you can kind of demo it in a day. And some of those things are, here are 4 situations in different parts of the world where you have something like a place that you'd kind of like to reimagine. And these 4 places quickly became a more expressive park, a place for hanging out outside, and a kind of in-city park. This was a street that became much more pedestrian friendly. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to help kind of visualize what a more preferable city might look like if you could digitize it quickly and pre-visualize it for somebody. Maybe the pre-visualization comes in Unity, or maybe it's an AR app, or maybe it's in these glasses that people are going to start to wear. Who knows? But like this is an example of a traffic calming rotary that was kind of installed in a day. And I'm kind of excited for how could we help change the city by prototyping our way there. So I guess for you, just a couple of homework things. I would say, like, try this stuff. Like, it's not that hard to try. Like, the Warby Parker app will give you virtual glasses on your face. The Photo Map app will help you solve math problems. This will help you visualize furniture. This will put a shark into your living room. The music scanner I mentioned. LumenDX is a startup out of MIT that will read your rashes. And help you order kits, that kind of thing. And a good AR prototyping app that I found is called Torch. It's torch.app. You can download it. You can kind of start to put anchors in the world with content or audio around those anchors. Thank you very much.